All right, y'all, buckle in because this is going to be a long test prep. Okay, this is over chapter 3. There are 45 questions. All right, so the first section is part 1 is questions 1 through 13. Okay. And this is going to be ser or estar. So you're choosing which one to use. The directions say, choose if the situation needs ser or estar and write the correct conjugation in the blank. Okay. Please make sure on all of these that you're reading the directions because I don't want you to miss something just because you didn't read them. If you just write the infinitive ser or estar, it'll be wrong, okay? So you have to follow the directions. You have to conjugate them. So it's going to be stuff kind of like what was on your homework. So it'll say something similar to la silla blank de cuero. Okay. And as long as you know your vocabulary, because your vocabulary is all through the test, from chapter 3 and even some from chapter 2 and 1, then you should be just fine at this. So if you remember from your vocabulary, cuero means leather. This right here is a huge indication on what you're going to choose, ser or estar. I told somebody earlier, if day is in your, like if it's something like blank day, chances are you're going to use ser, okay? If you've got blank en, chances are you're going to use estar, okay? So, because we talked about like possession and relationship and what something's made of and origin, and all of those kind of expressions are ser and de. So this is asking what the chair is made of. La silla blank de cuero. The chair is of leather, okay, or made of. So we use estar for condition and location, so temporary condition and location. We use ser for everything else, okay? So this is a made of, so it's not condition or location. So it has to be ser. And then la silla is an it, so it gets conjugated with that bottom square on the left-hand side, which is the la usted it form. So it's got to be la silla s, okay? Temporary, let's see, let's do this one. Yo blank sana. So this is from your vocabulary as well. Sana means healthy, okay? So whenever you're talking about sick or healthy, it's always going to be condition because those things are kind of in flux. One day you might be healthy, the next day you might be sick, and vice versa. So this is a condition. So we have to use estar, and then we have to conjugate it for yo. So this is going to be estoy. Okay? Blah, 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 blah. All right. In addition to en, look for prepositions of position, like encima de, delante de, debajo de, al lado de, juntos. Those are going to be indications of position, which is location. So that has to be estar. ¿Qué más? Yeah. So if you have something like blank or to blank en la sala, or to blank de Guatemala. Okay. In is location. This is living room. You are in the living room. This is a condition right now. So it's a location. So this has to be estás. This one is de, which is telling an origin. It means you're from somewhere. And that is going to use ser. So this is tú eres. Okay? If I were you to study for this part, not only would I study the different words and like, you know, if it's got a day, it's probably ser. If it's got an in, it's probably a star or that kind of thing. But I would actually practice the conjugations of ser and estar. And what I would do is, using your notes, I would, like, on a piece of paper, I'd write, like, yo, ser, el, estar, S-T-A-R, nosotros, estar, and just kind of pick subject pronouns, and then choose some in either one, ser or estar. Then I would close your book, no notes or anything, and I would see if you can conjugate each one for that subject pronoun, because that's really how you're going to push these into your long-term memory, not just your short-term memory. And like I said, ser is the one that I feel like the most people struggle with, and this is one of the most basic verbs that you have to know how to do that. And I told you, in class today that people get pretty creative with how they conjugate ser, and I don't want you to fall prey to that. Okay, so I would go ahead and spend a little bit of time just practicing how to conjugate ser and estar. Yeah, with the different subject pronouns. I need my eraser. Okay. The next section. No, I can't talk to you. Okay. So part 2 is question 14 through 18. And this is dealing with prepositions of placement. Okay. So it says there's an illustration. It's kind of like your homework. There's a picture, and then it says write a sentence with the preposition describing the position of the person or thing given. So you will have something like, okay, let me see. And then, and then it'll say, okay, so the parts are labeled for you. So this is a cat in a chair, and it says gato and silla, and then next to it, it says, okay, so I'm giving you the subject of the sentence. You have to write the sentence based on the subject and the location of the subject in the picture. So we want to talk about el gato, the cat. So the cat is on the chair, all right? So we would say el gato. Now you have to have your verb for is. So he is on the chair. So we say el gato está encima de la silla. Okay? So you have to know how to use estar for location, and you have to know those positional prepositions. Okay? You could also say en la silla, because this means on top of. So basically the same thing. Yeah, so there's 5 of those pictures. Okay? You might have one that looks like okay, and it'll say something like Juana, and then where is Joanna or Juana? She's next to Juan. So to say next to, we say junto al, or we say al lado de. So either one is fine, but we have to say Juana está al lado de Juan. Okay. So picture your subject is already given, and then you have to pick out how to conjugate estar for is or location, and then you have to pick out the right preposition for that person. Okay. So you'll have things like underneath, behind, in front of, on top of, to the side of. Okay. So I think it was that picture where the kid is hiding behind his mom because he took the car without asking. So I think all of those prepositions are on that page. I don't remember what number it is though. So then part 3 and 4 are translation, it's vocabulary. So part 3 is 19 to 26. And that is Spanish to English. And then part 4 is 27 to 34. And that is English to Spanish. Okay. So on part 3, you might have something like el algodón. If you see an article on your paper, you have to translate it. You can't just ignore it. Algodón means cotton, but if you just write cotton, you'll get half off because you forgot this word. So you have to include this. I need to know that you know that el means the. So the correct answer is the cotton. Okay? So this is really only for the Spanish to English. If there's an L, you have to write it. Okay? You have to write that it means the. For the English to Spanish, I'm not as concerned about that because I'm not going to say things like the leather or the wool. Like for this one, for the English to Spanish, I'm just going to write something like wool. And then you have to tell me lana. Okay? If you include the article, that's fine, but you better make sure that it matches. If you wrote en lana, that would be incorrect. Because if you're going to write it, this is a feminine word, so you have to write la lana. Okay? So if you're going to write it, make sure that it's correct. I grade you based on what you present to me. So if you left it off, that's totally fine because I didn't say the wool, I just said wool, so lana is fine. This is all over chapter 3 vocabulary. So that is lesson 4, 5, and 6, I think. So all the vocab from lesson 4, lesson 5, lesson 6 is going to be fair game on this. All right. Then the last section is section 5, and that is 35 to 45, and that's translations. Right? And that is like sentences. So, you know, we talked, this chapter was about ser versus estar. It was about possession. It was about origin. It was about what something's made of. It was about prepositions of position. So those are like that's the majority of what your translations are going to be about. There's also professions. ¿Qué más? Oh, we did relative pronoun K. So like joining two sentences with a K. So like you had an activity that was the man that has the Bible is the pastor. So you'll have something like similar to that. And you'll have to know that that is a K. So that kind of thing. So, for example, if I said, where is Paco? Where is Paco? Remember that where, the word for where is donde. So you say donde. And then we have is. We have two verbs that mean is. We have estar and we have estar. No, sorry, ser and estar. So donde is talking about a location. So we use estar for location and condition. So that means that this has to be estar. Now we have to conjugate that for Paco. So we say, ¿Dónde está Paco? Okay, so that would be how you translate that. You had something like, my dad is a doctor. Okay. You would say my, it's a possessive pronoun. We talked about those in class. So mi padre. And then for is being a doctor, so a profession, is that condition or location? No. It is a profession, which means that we use ser. We have to conjugate ser for my dad. So we say mi padre es, and then the word for doctor is médico. That was was on your homework. That was one of the questions on your homework, was somebody was a doctor. If you put un médico, I wouldn't count that wrong, but you would see me do this. Because in Spanish, like in English, we say is a doctor, is a teacher, is a plumber, is an electrician. But in Spanish, we don't use the indefinite article. We just say es médico, es profesor, es enfermero, is a nurse, that kind of thing, okay? So you don't need this. Like I said, I wouldn't mark it wrong if you had that, but I would mark it out, and that's why. Okay, so there's that. You might have something like, oh, also we talked about adjective agreement with nouns. And so if you had a sentence like, Jorge is content. George is content. First, you have to decide, okay, is this a condition or a location? It's a condition because right now he's feeling content. It might not last very long, okay? So we say Jorge está, and then content, we say the word is contento. Okay? And because Jorge is a man, we don't have to change this adjective. If it had been like, yo, feminine, or whoops, sorry, I, feminine, am tired. I am tired. This is also a condition. But I indicated that I is feminine, so that means that I is a girl in this case. So you have to, again, you have to include the subject pronoun, so you can't just leave this off. So you have to say, yo, this is a condition, so we have to use estar. So we say, yo estoy, and then cansado, right? Because the word for tired is cansado. But this I is feminine in this case, which means that this has to match the feminine yo. So what do? We change this O to an A. Yo estoy cansada. Okay. ¿Qué más? ¿Qué más? Right. The dog that is say under the, what should he be under? How about a sofa? Oh, let's say bed. Is sick. Gus is huge. He's like 80 pounds, maybe over 80 pounds, and he still crawls under my bed. True story. Okay. But he barely fits. It's really funny. And then he pokes his little nose out. He's like, hey, you see me under here? I'm under here. It's stinking cute. All right. So anyway, the dog that is under the bed is sick. So we'd say el perro that, que, our relative pronoun que, is under the bed. This is a location. So we say que está, because we're talking about el perro. So this could be kind of a he or an it. It kind of depends on how you think about it. Either one is fine. Either way, we'd still end up with está as our conjugation for estar, because we're talking about a location. Está under. How do we say under? Debajo de la cama. I don't know if you guys know the word for bed. It's not on your test. Bed is not on your test. It's a thing I could think of while I'm doing this. De la cama, sick. Sick, being sick is a condition. So we'd say, el perro que está debajo de la cama está enfermo. Okay? El perro is masculine, so this adjective stays masculine. Okay? This is also going to cover adverbs. So the adverbs of intensification, like poco, no nada, bastante, algo. I think that might have been it. But there was like a page of 4 or 5 of them. So you might have something like you are somewhat, oh boy, young. Okay. All right, so you are. Okay, So informal you, we have two options for you. We have to and usted. We want to use the informal one, so we have to use to. When we talk about being young and old, rich or poor, that kind of thing, we automatically have to use ser. We have tú, eres. Eres is the conjugation for ser. So you are somewhat was algo. The word for somewhat is algo. And then we have young, which is joven. Tú eres algo joven. You're kind of young. You're somewhat young. Okay? You might have something like the table is made of wood. Okay, so the table, la mesa. When we're talking about what something is made of, it's not a location or a condition, so we use ser. So we say, la mesa es de. The table is of. That's kind of like an expression. It doesn't literally mean made of, but it's like saying the table is of, and then the material. Okay? So you don't really need a word for this. It's just kind of included in the day. Okay, la mesa es de, and then the word for wood is madera. Okay? So, if I said, where is Luisa from? Where is Luisa from? This is not a location because it's not talking about where she is currently. It's talking about an origin, where she came from. So that means we have to use ser. Okay, we have to use ser. Our word, did I already do a question like this? I feel like maybe I did. Donde is the word for where. So we would say, upside down question mark, we'd say, but we have to use our day is kind of a, oh my goodness, interrogative, compound interrogative, I think is what it's called, if I remember correctly. So our expression is de donde. From where or of where es Luisa. De donde es Luisa? Where is she from? Of where is Luisa? Okay. So, real quick, I think that's a pretty good summary. But I want to give you real quick. If you have en in a sentence, like I guess I already told you this at the beginning of the first section, but if you have en in your sentence, that is indicating where they are at this moment, where you are, where they are, where he is, whatever, where it is. This is going to be está. Okay? If you have day of or from, you're probably going to be dealing with se. Okay? Donde means where. De donde means from where. Okay. Que means what. De que means of what? So this is like the expression you'd use if you were asking what something is made of. Where somebody is from, you'd say de donde. What something is made of, you'd say de qué. If you're talking about, let's see if I can put this on here. Quién means who. De quién means whose or of whom. So this is like de quién es la bolsa, whose is the bag, okay? So these are the question words and then they're compound interrogatives. So with the de, it kind of changes the meaning just a little bit. And so you need to be sure that you know all of these things, okay? Because if I said, ¿Dónde está blank? That's talking about a specific location. So we use estar. De donde es is talking about from where is somebody, okay? All right, I think that's all I've got. If I had, I'm going to tell you one more thing. If, wink, wink, there's something on your test like you, formal masculine, or you, formal feminine. You, formal, is usted. You can abbreviate it like this, okay? But if I give a gender, masculine or feminine, it doesn't affect the subject necessarily, like it doesn't affect the subject pronoun. But if there's an adjective in the sentence, it affects the adjective. Okay, does that make sense? So if I had like usted, formal masculine, or you are, let's say, short. Okay, we'd say usted es bajo because it's masculine. But if this said feminine, we would have to change it to baja. This doesn't change based on masculine or feminine, but the adjective does change based on masculine and feminine. Okay. Last thing is, you've got 3 extra credit questions, just like always. They're true, false, only I kind of switched up the terms on you. I said circle the C if the statement is cierto, that means correct. Okay, and circle the F if the statement is falso. So I think you guys can figure that out. Cierto means true, and falso means false. Pretty easy. So same thing, I just made them Spanish words instead of English. Those are going to be the nota culturales from the 3 lessons that were in chapter 3. Okay, so maybe a little bit from, basically you need to read page 34, which is La República Dominicana. That's like the title of the chapter. And the Nota Culturales on page 42, 51, and 57. Okay, so those that on every test I'm pulling from the chapter, the descript, whatever the chapter title is, that those paragraphs on the first page of the chapter, and then the Nota Culturales, the notas culturales on all of the different lessons. So same as always. Okay. All right. Let me know if you have questions. I'd be happy to help you in any way that I can. All right. Good luck.